صباح الخير مساء الخير أينما كنتم أهلا بكم في حلقة جديدة من صدمة شوك اكسترا. Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of صدمة شوك اكسترا. أنا مينا وهبة. My guest today needs no introduction. He's a TV host, a radio host, a broadcaster, podcaster, an influencer and also a public figure, just to name a few. He has hundreds of thousands of followers on social media. He is the only TV host in the Middle East that was able to talk to the stars and the creators of the Lord of the Rings series. My guest has also provided us with such essence of understanding and knowing what it is to have passion and pursuing it and also succeeding into it. It's my pleasure to have Sherif Nour El Din. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm just very humbled. So it means a lot to me, and thank you for the beautiful, kind of emotional for me introduction. So thank you so much, and it's a pleasure for me to be here, and I'm super excited, and I love the concept of the podcast. So yeah, let's go for it.
Thank you so much. Sherif, how are you today? How's your day?
I'm in a good mood. I'm in a very good mood. I realized that I used to like winter more, but now I actually do like summer. So whenever summer is here, I'm actually more excited. I'm more energetic. عندي كده عايز اعمل حاجات على طول، عايز افرق، عايز اروح، عايز اجي. اليوم طويل واليوم طول كمان اكتر دلوقتي، فام happy and I'm always happy to meet people. يعني انا بشوفك لاول مره، بقعد معاك لاول مره، وده حتى لو ما كانش على الكاميرا it's حاجه that I really love. انا بحب الناس قوي وبحب اتعرف على الناس قوي، فبالنسبه لي اول ميتنج مع اي حد ده بالنسبه لي it's someone new in my life, a new energy, a new source of inspiration and exchange of everything. So I'm happy.
It's brilliant. Okay, Sherif, we're just gonna jump back a few years. We went through the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
And there was a difficult time for everyone. For you, ya Sherif, what was it before the pandemic and going through it and living after the pandemic? I'm sure a lot of changes took place, whether it's with you as an individual or as a professional in your career. What can you tell us some things that have, you had to change or you had to remedy or you had to amend in order to, keep going with what you do?
Well, first of all, I had some realizations. And if we're talking personally, on a personal level, I had the realization that I always used to boast about the fact that I'm a free guy. I like my own time. I like my couch time. I like my space, and I like to ditch things, like to ditch parties or whatever, just because I can, and I don't have to be. Even though I am everywhere, but I mean, I don't have to be everywhere. And it's like my time is holy, my space is holy. But then I realized that I don't like to be forced to do anything. Meaning that when this actually happened by force, not by choice, and everyone had to be stuck at home on their couches or just like not going anywhere, not having any plans, not running around, and not having the choice to actually do or not do that, this actually was an eye-opener to the fact that I am a free man, yes, but freedom comes with a choice and having the choice. I don't like to be forced to do anything. And that being said, it was good for me that I actually prepared myself throughout all these years, because don't forget I'm an only child. So I always cherished my own time. I always knew how to have fun and to enjoy my time alone and not be lonely, which is a huge difference. And accordingly, when pandemic happened, it just reinforced that. But yet again, it made me appreciate the fact that I have a choice in my day. That if there's something happening and I don't want to go or I don't want to do it, it's actually a blessing that I don't want to do it because I have the choice. And if I do it, I enjoy it even more now because I miss it. Because I know now how it is not to have this option. So that's on a personal level. On a professional level, I had my podcast, and it was in perfect sync with the COVID, with the pandemic. And the thing is that the concept of it, which is al pajama, which is basically stars and PJs, me in PJs, super comfortable, super chill, actually came before the pandemic. It was not pandemic related. Our first episode was shot, ironically, first day of Hazr, first day of lockdown. And the lockdown was announced and the pajama was there, and suddenly the world is in pajamas. All my friends, all the celebrities are in pajamas. So it's very easy. Everybody is on Zoom, everybody's in their PJs. So it's just crazy how I wanted to do the podcast because I wanted to break out from the whole TV, very proper, very suit, very frame. I wanted people to see more of me, more of Sherif that you actually see right now. And that was the whole idea. So I didn't think of any format better than being in PJs. So to be comfortable. Never did I even imagine that this comes with the pandemic. It was just a pure coincidence, and it was just crazy, and it was just amazing. So personal level, professional level, there you go.
Perfect. So I'm sensing, or I guess my question, the follow-up question to that is, what do you cherish more? Is it your alone time or your time?
Both. Both. And I appreciate both. And I understand the value of both. And balance is key. I believe that balance is key, always, always, always. And again, if pandemic or lockdown taught us anything, it, I think, taught us to appreciate the little things that we took for granted. And the big things also that we took for granted, whether having a proper job to go down to every day, even though we were like, oh my God, I cannot wake up in the morning. I'm tired of doing this, But sometimes actually the routine is good because it sets a frame to your day and your life accordingly. And on another note, it made me realize that balance is key because too much couch is not good for you. Too much running around and Google Calendar checkouts is not also good for you because you end up being burnout. And that's not healthy. And it would not let you A, appreciate your success, and B, go on. So I think it's balance. If I learned anything from the lockdown and this quite tough times, actually, I learned that balance is key and to appreciate everything.
That's amazing. It's very good.
Yeah. What did you learn?
I learned to take care of myself a lot more, take care of my loved ones a lot more. Living abroad in Canada, we were locked down for like almost a year plus.
And you took the lockdown very seriously. Not that we didn't take seriously. I mean, Egypt. I mean, we took it very seriously in Egypt. Lockdown was holy. But I mean, Canada.
It made me realize that, hey, you know, like, yeah, work is important, life is important, to go through everything that you need to go through on a daily basis is important, but it gave me more understanding of how much I value my time and how much I value, you know, being around those that I love the most and that lift me up. And that makes me a better person and makes me better at what I do as a professional, makes me better as a husband, a father, an uncle, a son, all the above.
And is us today and this podcast a result of this realization or revelation?
Yeah.
Or part of it?
It's a huge part of it, yes. I needed to extract myself from my only like box that I've been in, you know, my 9 to 5, my routine, my regular life, especially abroad, it's very routine based. طبعا
بيهزروش.
I had to create my own bubble and just you know, immerse myself into it.
That's great. That's great. And I'm very, very glad because some people just like this passed them by and they didn't even think of opening their eyes into anything. They were like, oh my God, I can't wait till it ends. And once it ended, they got back to their old selves, which it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I mean, it didn't trigger anything. And I don't know. I think it's better, or it makes more sense when you go through something major, especially if it's a collective thing, that we all like get out of it changed humans, hopefully to the better.
It's important to pursue your dreams. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, some 5 years ago or something like that, from what I've read or seen on Ego magazine, you were asked some questions, and to one of your answers, you advised that at the time you could be quick to be jealous, reluctant sometimes, and don't like much change. Are those some of your traits still?
No, they changed a lot. It's funny enough that we actually dug this out. But I mean, yeah, no, I'm definitely. So it was jealous, and what else?
Reluctant.
Okay, and what else?
And don't like much change.
No, I'm so pro change now. I mean, my habits are my habits, which is good. Again, like I have my roots, I have my routine, I have my little things, but I'm definitely more prone to change because a lot of things happened in the last 5 years. Pandemic happened. I lost my father as well in the way, and this was another like a big event in my life, and a lot has changed.
Sorry to hear that.
It's okay. And accordingly, I learned a lot, and I learned a lot about myself, and I learned that the only thing that is static or the only constant thing in life is change. And if you're not willing to go with the flow and you try... Remember the movie Forces of Nature? Matthew McConaughey. It was this movie, basically he was this guy, like a 40 or 30-year-old guy who would not move out of his parents' house. And then whenever he's out in the nature, he gets bit by squirrels, he gets turned by مش عارف ايه, because like nature was not approving that he wasn't going with the flow. And once he decided to get married, start a life, move out of his parents' house, suddenly nature became his friend and nothing happened to him. It's the same thing. You cannot stand against the tide. You have to go with it, but you have to go with it realizing where you are. If you're changing something about yourself or about your life, should be hopefully to the better. And even if you go through something negative or you decide to venture into something that in theory is not good for you, it could be still good for yourself or good for your whole system, because it will make you learn things about yourself, and it will make you learn that it is not good for you, because why is it not good for you? I mean, it's this fear of the unknown that lets us caged and stay back and eventually not grow as people, mentally and physically and psychologically. So no, about jealousy, I think if I remember correctly, it was jealousy career-wise. It was competition. Maybe I meant it in a way. I was definitely more hungry at the time. I am still hungry, but in a more balanced way. Because when you achieve and you keep achieving and you keep, alhamdulillah, doing like getting to be places and doing alhamdulillah good stuff and being recognized for what you do, خلاص, يعني you're like, okay, fine. You know what you're doing, you're good at it, chill, you know what I mean? So accordingly, you start realizing, okay, so what's next? Why am I here? I worked so hard for this. Why? Just for people to tell me you're great or you're amazing? No. I'm sure there is a reason, there's a purpose of this. Whether to take this knowledge and give it to someone else, whether to give back and feed the nest or be useful to people using the power of whether it is being connected to certain or different societies, whether it's the power of fame, whether it's the power of influence. There's a purpose for everyone in this life, and we're all a puzzle. So after the whole, you run, and then you reach somewhere, even if it's not the top, but you reach somewhere. So you look from this somewhere and be like, okay, so what now? What am I supposed to do here? What do we have here? What's next? But so not what's next with a selfish attitude to it. What's next in the sense of, okay, so how do I like give back? How do I like be there, out there, be useful? Just like people were useful to me throughout this little journey, and it got me where I am today.
Great. So if you have one word to describe the changes about yourself today, what's the strongest word you would pick about yourself?
Mind-blowing. There are two words, but I mean mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing.
I would have never expected. I've discovered so much about myself and about life, and I keep still discovering, and I still think it's again one of the constant things about people is that you're in the process, you're always on the go, you're always learning and you're always discovering. I'm like a kid all the time. I'm always impressed, I'm always fascinated, I'm always curious, and a very big part of our job, me and yours now, is curiosity about people, about things, about places, about theories, about art, just curiosity and knowing more. And the more you know, the more you want to know more. You know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah, generally, yeah.
It's just like, it's a chain reaction. It doesn't stop. So, but the changes in my personality or what happened in my life, mind-blowing. The person I am today is definitely super far. Like the essence, the real essence, making my close friends would know that. Like the person is here. Like the Sherif that they've known always is here, but the content, the content is definitely, woo, and more, and I'm always curious to know what happens next to me. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Amazing. From a podcast that you were talking in, Cut the Crap, shout out to them.
Yeah, the man. حبك حب التنين.
I understood that you grew up in Zamalek.
Yes.
And you grew up in an environment where you'd see actors on a regular basis and movies being shot close by, and it's completely different than, you know, your regular Joe growing up in Cairo on Mata. With that being said, what is it that has influenced you, excuse me, so much to be that person that you are today, knowing that that may have not been or may have been? How is that influence and that environment has pushed you and gave you that source in you to push and, you know, try to pursue what you do now?
I think it's the beauty and the magic and the aura and the allure that was around those people, just walking around and then suddenly seeing them on TV in my living room. And not only seeing them in my TV in my living room, seeing them in my TV in my living room doing great things. And then suddenly finding Fuad al-Muhandis just praying Salat al-Gum'ah every weekend. Just like that. Just a regular guy praying. And then suddenly his Ammu Fuad was like like our old grandfather figure for like years, our childhood kind guy, for example. Seeing Fatir Hamama just going around with her driver and doing her groceries in Zamalek, just like that, and then suddenly realizing that this is like Sayyidat al-Shash al-Arabiyya, and suddenly seeing her doing TV and doing great things, and then suddenly realizing that she is number one actress in like their world, and be like, but she's walking around, she's just around, just like that's what is going on? It's just like a normal being, because when you're a kid, you always think that these people are like they're not real.
Yeah, they're aliens of some sort, right?
Exactly. So this and that, this to name a few, as I told you, like I had a lot of them around. So, and when you see them around in flesh and blood, and you see that there are actually people just like us, but then they're doing amazing stuff that makes them and us happy. And then seeing normal people, I don't mean, no, it's like, I don't mean people, but I mean, yeah, but like, if there's X, Z, and Y, and then there's Fuad al-Muhandis, you definitely look at Fuad al-Muhandis, and it's only normal. And again, being an only child, I always liked attention, normally. And attention came from what? Being exceptional or doing something that raises attention to you. Right. These people were walking in the street, everybody is there, but they stand out. So what is this attention? I'm just, by the way, I didn't even realize this until I spoke to you about it out loud. And that's a nice question.
That's amazing.
So I think it was this the it factor and the attention and the standing out. And again, knowing that this is like, you can have a house, live in a normal neighborhood, but then go down, create magic, and just come back and sleep. I want to do that. That's
حلو خالص. And you described it on the podcast as well with Laman, and it was like a fantasy world. Now that you're part of that universe, is that what you were expecting?
That's a nice question. I love how you're asking this question very nonchalantly. So now that you're part of this world, and you thought it was like super Disney, is this Disney to you? No. Wow. Okay. Yes and no. Yes and no. It's work after all. And maybe that's just like all of us, just like any career, not only entertainment, but I mean, we always have this fantasy about whether it is sports, whether it is even whatever. And then you get to work and you get to realize that it's just a career like any, with all the challenges, with all the competition, with all the professional ups and downs, with all the politics, with all the strategies, with all the... And the trick is, and I think that's what I'm always working on, and that's why I always regard my job as a passion, not as a job. And the day I regarded it that this is it's my bread and butter, obviously, but I mean, not only. And طول ما أنا بفكر فيها, or I think about it as a passion, as a hobby, not as a career and not as my 9 to 5 or bread and butter, then I think I will always have this still idea of a fantasy world. That's why I will always be very happy to be in a movie festival and be like starstruck just like any other, even though I know all those people probably in and out. But I mean, still, I'm still excited. So I think it's just a world like any other. It is definitely prettier. It is definitely shinier, but it definitely has its flaws, and it has its like professional attributes that relates to any career. But
حلو خالص.
do you think it's a fantasy world? No, right?
To me,
Yeah.
I talk to people and deal with people as people, and that's how I like to be treated too, no matter where I go in my life.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, you know, it's mutual respect and love, you know. And
Yeah. No, but I mean, do you look at this whole entertainment industry like it's like a fantasy world? Like,
to many, it could be.
yeah.
Because that's kind of...
Because they don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's kind of the image it pervades. But no, I don't think it's a fantasy world. I think it's a job, just like, you know, a lot of professional jobs out there. It's difficult. It's not for everyone. It's not everyone's cup of tea. But at the end of the day, you know, if you have passion and you enjoy what you do, just like you mentioned, you will go through it, and whatever bumps أو أي صدمة هتعدي عليك أكيد هتتعامل معاها وهتعرف تتصرف معاها، وطول ما انت الاتيتيود بتاعك إيجابي هتعرف تتعامل وتوصل لحل إيجابي معاها.
متفق 100%. 100%.
فبالتالي يعني هو ده رأيي يعني.
Hey, you're ready.
Sherif, you grew up in a household بتعشق السينما والفن, from what I understand. And you also grew up in a household where I don't want to use the word strict, but you were held responsible to make your own choices and your decisions.
True.
How did that shape you to who you are now?
Well, it prepared me. It prepared me for the world, for the real world. I did not get the usual shock that most of us get growing up, that the world is not just a playground. It's not a big playground. It's choices, again, that you make, and responsibilities, and you're accountable to whatever you decide. And I think that was a very big reason of why I worked since I was very young. And I thought it was a normal thing because, again, it's a choice I make. And I was good with my scheduling. I was good with my differentiating or separating between my studies and my side job, whatever it is. And all of this, again, was thanks to the fact that, man, you're on your own. You make your own decisions. You want to stay and not study and then have your summer vacation ruined because you have exams, which, by the way, we will not also tell you sit down. You can go to the club even in summer if you have exams because you failed your winter semester. And also, it's your choice. You are responsible. You are your own responsibility. And that's a lesson that I see a lot of, للأسف, I see a lot of kids now that they're adults now around me. It took them a while. It was very hard for them because they were always used to someone telling them, do this, do that. Did you study? Did you shower? Did you brush your teeth? Did you... ما كانش عندي الكلام ده. الناس علمتني اتفضل نام خش نام عادي جدا. اتفضل بتاع خلصنا يعني مش عايز تنام ما تنامش هتصحى الصبح مقريف good for you هتروح مدرسة برضو يعني عادي جدا. It wasn't strict really. It was just very normal. it's like
It's up to you.
It's up to you. It's like you're maybe the only downfall for it is that it somehow made me a little bit up ahead of my age, in the sense of, I mean, growing up a little bit earlier than I should.
Matured earlier.
Yeah. But yet again, it's relative because on the other hand, I see people who think they haven't they took their time being kids and not maturing early and had the cliche classic childhood, and then I see them like adults being like super immature more than a child. So, and I see children even more mature than them. So I think it's relative. I think it's very relative, but I think it was a blessing. مش متضايق خالص بالعكس.
طب that's amazing. بالعكس أنا شايف إن هي حاجة كويسة.
I think إن كمان ما أعرفش دلوقتي وأنت بتربي ولادك I think it's the same thing يعني.
طبعا.
يعني Because you don't want a kid or a son that's always dependent on you all the time and always waiting for you to instruct them, and eventually they're just like clueless without you. What if you بعد شهر 1000 مرة بس what if you just not there anymore? You know what I mean?
وبصراحة كمان برضو الحياة دلوقتي فاهمة متطلبة ان انت تبقى responsible وتعرف تاخد اختيارات من غير ما تلاقي حد يقول حلو ان انت يبقى عندك guideline وحد يدي لك advice.
1,000,000%.
بس يعني انت برضو لازم تاخد ال responsibility ده وانت at a young age. It's okay to make mistakes, right? It's okay to do wrong things. But it's not appropriate that when you're an adult and you're responsible for others that you make silly mistakes.
But here's the thing. اللذيذ بقى في القصة ان انت I was allowed to make mistakes and I did mistakes. بس I was held accountable for them. هي دي الفكرة ان انت مسؤول عن اخطائك. غلطت هتدفع الثمن عادي easy. وعملت حاجة كويسة هتتدلع بس which is برضو حاجة مهمة جدا انه مش كل حاجة عملت مش عارف ايه انت لا بالعكس. طب انت بقى لو عملت حاجة حلوة لا I was rewarded and I was rewarded أهم من materialistically emotionally appreciated. Like I used to make like plays go to Beauty and the Beast for example when we were kids. Beauty and the Beast Disney on Ice مش عارف ايه بتاع. فرحت جبت كل الفيجرز وبتاع ورحت راجع البيت ورحت عملت لهم يا جماعه انا هعمل لكم بيوتي اند بيست في البيت عادي جدا يعني جدا. وجبت الساوند تراك وبتاع ومثلا ايه تيكتس وكده وييجوا يقعدوا رجاله شحوطه وستات كبار وجدتي وبتاع ونقعد يعني you know what I mean. And they took me seriously
because you're passionate. Exactly.
And that I'm thankful for. You know what I mean. They didn't be like okay fine have fun حبيب قلبي معلش تعبان بس شويه لا خالص. So they made me respect my passion and love it and even take it further. And with every step up until this date, like my mom, my aunts, everyone is like super supportive, super happy, as if it's the first thing I've ever done. So it's important. So as it's يعني زي ما تبقى لازم تبقى disciplined لازم تبقى مش عارف ايه لازم كمان في الحاجة الكويسة في السبورت في البوزيتيفيتي you have to علشان خاطر ما يبقاش حاسس ان هو okay fine you do something wrong you're screwed you do something fine well yeah. There was also the thing of انه ما انت you're expected to do well because يعني if you're giving all the things that should let you be doing well ماشي. And it's great that I think that way also. But still, you're rewarded. You're appreciated. But
it's amazing, man. It's amazing to hear in, growing up in a household where there was acceptance and reinforcement. It's hard to find in our culture sometimes.
1,000,000%. لا this بصراحة I was lucky. I was very lucky.
That's very good.
طيب.
I don't know. I heard that you were shy growing up, but to me, you don't stand like the shy guy.
It's very funny.
But you were shy a little bit growing up, I guess, and but you still pushed to your vision, for your future, the future you wanted for yourself. At a young age, you went and you knocked the door on teen stuff.
Yes.
Right? في ثانوية عامة was it?
تانية ثانوي. يمكن أولى أو تانية حتى.
Okay, تمام. And you were you put yourself out there.
The hardest walk of my life, and the hardest knock on the door of my life. Oh my God.
Can you tell us about this opportunity and what did this opportunity mean to you?
It was me like challenging my inner demons, me meeting King Kong, meeting كل اللي انت عايزه. يعني it was the آخر الفيلم عارف بيلي إليوت يعني فاهم. It was that. And بجد because for me they're like the coolest thing on earth. These are very cool guys doing very cool things, talking about very cool stuff, going to premieres and meeting stars and they're like they have like coupon flyers for junk food. These are really cool people, you know what I mean? And I was like, okay, I want to be there, but I don't know. I don't know. Will they bully me? Will they be too cool for me? Am I gonna be too nerdy for them? I don't know. You know what I mean? وفضلت وهولي بقى يعني أنا كل شهر I get the magazine and I'm like crazy about it and I know I should be there. It's like you know what? يعني تيت خلاص let's do it. And I remember very well. فين يا ابني العنوان؟ ماشي شارع جدة. اوكي خدت تاكسي ورحت. والله العظيم I was training يعني اسمها جوتخان كانت اللي هي I was like بجرجر نفسي فاهم وانا طالع وكل شويه اقول طب لا هرجع طب لا والله يا لهوي. ايوه يعني it's I know it sounds very funny that
كانت لحظه مرعبه يعني
جدا اللي هو what if اي حاجه what if كسفوني what if you know what I mean.
Did you learn that the show must go on?
Of course, but I mean كمان هم they were very used to this. When I became friends with Manal Al-Mahdi, which was the editor-in-chief, which was the one who created teen stuff, and that's another story, and I love this woman. Anyways, يعني she told me كانت قاعدة في الفرونت ديسك كان اسمها مها she's a very nice girl super curly hair, big huge smile on her face, very warm, very nice, very مش عارف ايه. And later بقى I learned from Manal that she knew for a fact ان ده طبيعي ان كل الولاد اللي بتيجي probably معظمهم عندهم نفس الإحساس. وكمية القصص بقى that you learn about people that you now see like we had Mickey, we had Ahmad Murad, we had all of these people were teen stuffers by the way, and yeah, and then you learn their how they started and how they were and how they developed, all by taking this step, but also by finding a place that supports them. I was sitting there like in group discussions about mother issues and sexual issues as a teenager and حاجات اللي هو ايه and actually people gave a shit and they listened to us and no judgment خالص. فلا it was a huge step and it was the beginning of everything amazing in my life.
How did it impact your future going forward?
Oh my God, everything. I got my first job ever there. أول كارنيه أول covering a festival ID, press ID was for مهرجان القاهرة in 2000 or 1999 from me working in teen stuff because أنا فاشل أنا مين أصلا يعني. So I like أنا صحفي في مجلة teen stuff يا جماعة أنا عايز كارنيه وأنا عيل أصلا فاهم. And I got it and I went and I did the coverage. My first interviews ever were there. Because of my interviews I ended up being on national TV in اسهر معانا, which was the hugest show at the time, doing an under 20 segment about the internet and then a live 15 minutes being watched nationwide and Arab worldwide. And I met so many people and I've done a play. I was on the talent show. I went on stage for the first time ever other than school, because school is school, you know what I mean, but I mean actual stage. I was presenting a poem and then a play and then oh my God, everything great happened. I met Yusuf Altai. I met him there and we became friends since then. I met really amazing people and we were all starting and we were all dreaming and look at where we are right now.
هقول لك على حاجة.